For months, you have trained, worked diligently to hone your technique to perfection. As things start to slow down and the bigger picture becomes clear, the fruit of your labor allows you to reach a state of flow where you can handle any challenge that stands in your way. In this moment, nothing can stop you, or so you thought. Disaster strikes, and for reasons that seem outside of your control, you find yourself looking from afar as others live out your dream. One moment, everything you worked for was in your grasp. Now your hands go cold as others seize the opportunity. How does one overcome the setbacks and lowest moments during the climb up the ladder? For progress is not linear and instead marred with instances of failure. Coping with failure is one of life's great challenges, and one that Furudate explores in what I consider to be Haikyuu's defining moment, Hinata's fever in the Kamomedai match. After playing arguably his best game in the manga, Hinata comes down with a fever that forces his removal from the match. With Karasuno nearly leading at the time, things quickly turn downwards as they lose to Kamomedai without their decoy on the court. Hinata forced to watch the end of the game on an iPad from the hospital. This is rock bottom for a player who had finally made good on his potential. Hinata's fever destroys the reader as we watch our protagonist hit his lowest point in a critical match. When first reading this, we feel the same way Hinata does, a bitterness followed by sorrow. It feels so unfair for Hinata to lose his spot on the court in such a fashion. His play didn't dip, nor did he twist an ankle. His body simply refused to keep letting him play this reckless way. This decision by Furudate crystallizes Haikyuu's messaging, and it pays off a massive risk. None would have batted an eye if Hinata finished the game and Karasuno went even further at Nationals. Instead of gratification, Furudate leaned into the reality of growth to finish the most important arc in the manga. In a lot of ways, this moment makes everything in Haikyuu worth it. In the same way Hinata slowly puts the pieces together for his game, so too does Furudate stack concepts throughout to make this become the moment of his story. The fever ties into the central idea introduced in season 4 of the anime. He who would climb the ladder must begin at the bottom. The Ball Boy arc begins with Hinata attempting to create an opportunity that he didn't earn by participating in the first year training camp. Hinata's denied the honor because he hasn't found a way to fight on his own, a key moment for his development. This is when Takeda introduces us to the simple but crucial idea that you can't skip steps on your way to the top. It starts with building a strong foundation, and it ends in the Kamomedai match, with how to pace yourself later on. To understand how Furudate pulled off the end of the Kamomedai match, we first need to examine the various training arcs throughout the series. Even in the show's first episode, we come across this idea when Kageyama doesn't understand where Hinata has been all this time. For 3 years in middle school, a player with Hinata's potential didn't make it on the court for more than one game. While Hinata's limited opportunities at this stage of the story stems from his middle school's lack of programming, it embeds the idea in the reader that Hinata needs to take advantage of every change he gets. For Hinata to ever play on the national stage, he will need to find plenty of playing time in lower stakes matches and tournaments. Haikyuu's first season focuses on discovering the talents of those on Karasuno as they put their team together based on the potential of 3 strong first years. Karasuno overcome mental blocks and explore how speed and unpredictability can unlock their offense, but foundationally, they lack the ability to compete with the best and wind up losing to Abajosai. Eat and grow stronger. This is Yukai's advice to Karasuno after they suffer defeat. Karasuno unearths talent in season 1, and here Yukai hints that foundation is where they will transform into a truly competent team. This brings us to the training camp in season 2. Here the team deploys synchronized attacks while Hinata pushes to hit the freak quick with his eyes open. The Freak Quick is Karasuno's greatest tool, the thing that separates their team from others and lets the rest of their strategy fit into place. When Hinata challenges that move, it comes with a fair bit of caution from Kageyama. In a way, Kageyama needs to learn this lesson just as much as Hinata. There is no skipping steps on the way to the top. No matter how fast your setter can get the ball to his hitters, if they lack fundamental skills to choose where to hit the ball, then you will never reach your full potential as a team. Hinata improves his fundamental spiking abilities a lot in this season, becoming a real threat as an attacking player who has an ability to read the defense and adapt to situations. With their team in place, Karasuno are able to reach the national stage, but will need everyone to grow even more if they're going to be any threat at that level. In their first practice match, Oikawa pointed out how much effort Karasuno will need to be a decent defensive team, as many of their younger players lack the ability to make good receives. While this part of Hinata's game is mitigated because he plays middle blocker, he still needs to learn the foundations of defense as the final piece to allowing him to play at the highest level. This takes us to the ball boy arc, where volleyball slows down for Hinata and he starts to observe others, understanding the various approaches to the game, getting into the mind of what others are thinking on the court. In a way, the ball boy arc is odd. Hinata starts for a national level team, yet he has such major blind spots in his game. Hinata sought out points, using pace and instincts to convert them. Being a ball boy forces him to contemplate the larger game, how his play impacts others, and how he can help raise the level of his teammates. A player who now sees the full court. While his receiving skills are still not perfect, they are more than serviceable for a middle blocker. Hinata has gotten so good at the basics that Kenma tries to take advantage of that at nationals. During the Kamomedai match, we see Hinata in a kind of final form. His skills have taken him to the mountaintop as he faces every challenge head on with an ability to read situations and make good on them. His training has paid off and he seems to be unstoppable. Then disaster strikes and Hinata falls down with a fever, desperately wanting to go back on the court, hoping to disregard this phantom injury. Takeda tells Hinata he can't let him do that, and that Hinata has to go to the hospital to get checked. The climax of nationals ends in heartbreak. Hinata falls with a fever because he was not able to properly take care of his body, getting less rest and rehabilitation, with eagerness for the next match overtaking his mind. This is still volleyball. That is what Takeda tells Hinata to get him refocused. Injury and other circumstances all have a role to play in an athlete's performance. Taking care of yourself off the court matters just as much as your technique on it. Most importantly, it is a great failure for Hinata, a short player who needs to take every opportunity he has. In this instance, it's not preparing enough for the idea of success. But this moment will not define Hinata's career, for he has the chance to get better the next day. These types of moments happen to us all the time. Growing means taking on more, and when we do so, it is inevitable that there will be times where we take a step back on the ladder instead of moving forward. Growth will never be linear for us, as much as we would like it to be. Challenges like these will always come back to bite us. Hinata embraced the things he wasn't good at, and worked diligently to improve his fundamentals, but his excitement about playing at such a high level caused him to not take care of things like he normally would. He moved off of adrenaline, even though his mind was clear and focused on the task at hand. His body just couldn't keep up. Hinata once again lost an opportunity. The cleverness of this moment only settles on us after reflection. When you first read it, Furodate glues you to the current emotions of Hinata. We desperately try to think of a way out of the situation, a way for Hinata to stay on the court. Afterwards, we remember the many lessons Hinata has learned, mainly from Takeda. Then everything starts to make sense. Of course, Hinata wasn't going to reach the top on his first attempt, and doing so would betray the ideas Furodate has explored leading up to this point. Hinata's fever makes the reader feel the damning weight of failure, a weight all of us will one day learn to bear. The payoff to this choice comes in Brazil. In the years following this moment, Hinata and Karasuno had ample success, even making it to the top 3 at nationals. However, after graduation, he decides to go to Brazil instead of playing college or trying out professionally. Despite his work ethic and success in high school, Hinata still has catching up to do, and that means building up his body to withstand the pressure of playing as a smaller player at the highest level. He will never have the raw technique to play like Hoshiyumi in the air, so he needed to lean into the things he's good at. Hinata has a knack for making his presence known and using his speed to put off defenders, so he worked heavily on balance in an all-around game, making sure he could withstand playing in the pros. He took 2 years off in Brazil because he needed a different kind of training that suited his playstyle. He couldn't take forever or else he would miss his chance, but the same kind of time a person would take in college to be prepared for their professional debut. Hinata uses foresight earned from his greatest failure to be able to play indoor volleyball at a professional level. Hinata then explodes onto the court, showing what it looks like when you make it to the top of the ladder. Our greatest failures are opportunities to create new strengths. Once we reach rock bottom, as Hinata did against Kamomedai, we know exactly where we need to train. That can ensure that we have success in the future. Often failure gets used as this great thing, but the moment it happens, it feels anything but good. This is where leaders like Takeda are crucial, for without him, Hinata would never have had the motivation and understanding to fix the issue. A key understanding of failure is leaning on people you trust to help you get back on the ladder. This is Haikyuu's most bold moment, for how it made Olafur readership face devastation when Hinata was so close to becoming the best player on the court. But it wouldn't have been an honest depiction of the climb up the ladder if he only had success. Setbacks will always happen, those setbacks leading to our lowest moments. Here we can learn what it takes to last and sustain growth, to keep on climbing while weathering the storm. This culminates in Haikyuu's final match, where we see the completed idea of Hinata as a player, not in his first national tournament a year after he started playing, but years on after tireless training on the beach, working on the fundamentals, and learning what makes a player great, not playing in one specific way. This is the result of Haikyuu's most bold moment. Learn to take care of yourself and reflect on your journey. All of us will have these low moments, but they do not define us. What does is our response, something that everyone should take note of. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. For a long time, I've wanted to zero in on this specific moment in Haikyuu, so it was a lot of fun to be able to finally do that. I also want to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons and YouTube members. I do all of the production on these videos on my own, from scripting to editing, and their support goes a really long way to continue helping me make videos. If you want to support me through Patreon or YouTube membership, you get access to this channel's Discord server where I host monthly anime watch-alongs. We just finished watching The Apothecary Diaries, which was really fun. You get your name at the end of every video and access to exclusive Patreon posts. Thank you again for watching the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.